Hey guys, my name is Matsumo, and welcome to your episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you'd like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question today comes from Josh, and it is, did you hear about the potential nerf to Twitch by removing her ACOG? So I don't know where this rumor started, but clearly a lot of people are concerned that Twitch is going to no longer have access to an ACOG because I've been getting loads of questions along these lines, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Ubisoft made it very clear that when they removed the ACOG on Ashe, that this was going to be the testbed for future operators or potential old operators to tone how powerful they are in Rainbow Six Siege. Ashe had a really high pick and win rate. That's why they made that adjustment. And so if they're looking at old operators that might be a bit too powerful, instead of nerfing their weapon damage or their rate of fire, what they could do instead is just remove the ACOG. The thing about Twitch is that for the longest time now, Ubisoft has been slowly chipping away at her influence. They, of course, removed how many shocks she had. They made it so that her drone is a lot noisier now. It used to be a lot more quiet, and they've been trying to tone her down. And so I'm assuming this is where this rumor came from, is that now with this change to Ashe, they're going to be doing the same treatment to Twitch. And if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. I mean, there would be a part of me that would be a little bit surprised, but if we take a look at their stats, you'll notice that Ashe on the far right is way above and beyond everyone else. Her win rate and her pick rate was amazing. This is before the ACOG change, by the way, but you'll also notice that Twitch is way up there as well. Her win rate and her pick rate are staggering compared to almost all of the other offensive operators in the game. And so Ubisoft may be taking a look at this, especially now that they've got the data on Ashe, and maybe this is the adjustment that she's going to be receiving sometime in the future. The only concern I have with this is, where does this stop? If an operator slowly starts to gain popularity for whatever reason, old or new, are they going to just look at them and just remove this attachment? ACOGs are pretty important in Rainbow Six Siege right now. If you don't have access to it, it does limit the kind of playstyle that you're able to have. Twitch really isn't an aggressive character. I mean, to some extent she is, but she's nowhere near as aggressive because of her 2 armor, 2 speed. And so she can't really close the gap as quickly as someone like Ashe, for example. And so removing this attachment, I feel like would be a bigger deal compared to some of these other operators. On the other hand, though, this way of balancing out characters, I think gives a bit more creative freedom to Ubisoft to try and experiment with new things. If they want to bring in a new operator that has an amazing weapon, something similar to Twitch, for example, what they can do is say that they're not going to have access to an ACOG, that's a bit too strong, but they have all these other amazing stats. And so by not allowing every single offensive character in the game access to that specific attachment, that allows them to explore a different, or an operator in a different way. And so all in all, while I don't know if these rumors are true, I haven't seen any response on the part of Ubisoft, I think we're just going to kind of have to wait and see. They're probably going to look at the data related to Ashe and then proceed from there, but of course that is going to take some time. The next question comes from Frankie, and it is, I feel like Fuse has not been feeling any love recently. What about a buff that would allow his gadget to be thrown or drilled into a wall like Ying's gadgets? That would make him incredibly powerful. If you were able to literally throw that into a room and then his pucks just kind of bounced around all over the place, I feel like that'd be a bit too much. Like, at least in his current state, like I understand where you're going with this, but if it actually worked the way that it does now, but you could literally just throw it into a room, I don't know if that's the direction that I want to see for this character. I do understand that one of the biggest weaknesses of him right now is that a lot of times you're not even really able to use his gadget because you're limited by the surfaces around you. If there isn't a barricade, if there isn't a soft wall, then his gadget really doesn't have any impact whatsoever. He's very, very situational because of that. And while I will admit that this would make him a lot more versatile, I don't really know if that's the direction that I would want to see for this character. I don't want Rainbow Six Siege to get to the point where we're getting taken out more because of the gadget itself and not because of the player's ability. Yes, I realize there are nades in this game. There are ways to take out someone other than your primary weapon, but I have a feeling that this really would become a nuisance more than anything else and would honestly make him too powerful. And while I will admit that Fuse probably could use an upgrade, right now, because every everyone has gotten so used to his gadget, they know what to listen out for, and as soon as they hear that go onto the barricade, they'll just shoot it out, or they'll just run away. A lot of times, he is now more of a supportive character to try to flush people out from their hiding spot. And don't get me wrong, that is useful, but not as useful as a lot of the other operators that we have available to you on the offensive team. And so I do think that he could use some improving. I just don't know if this is the right direction for it. Let me know what you guys think about this idea, though. This is just my 2 cents. Do you like it? Do you think this is a good direction for Fuse, having the ability to literally just throw his gadget wherever he wants? Or do you think that would be too powerful? Let me know down below in the comments. The next question is, do you think that Battlefield 5's Battle Royale is going to last? I honestly don't know, but I will admit that I am a bit worried, which is disappointing because I actually really enjoy this mode, like a surprising amount. I thought that they brought a lot of cool elements into this genre that I wish other Battle Royale games had. The destructibility, for example, is a really big game changer. Normally, if someone's in a building camping and you know that they're there and they know where you are, there's not a whole lot that you could do. You could try to slowly make your way up the staircase and try to catch them by surprise, but a lot of times that's not going to work. They have the clear advantage there. But in Battlefield 5, that's not the case. You can use the wide variety of different gadgets to take out said building and then use that to your advantage. Those quote-unquote battlefield moments are amazing when they happen, and honestly, they happen quite frequently. All that being said, though, I am still very worried about the longevity of this mode overall, and I think that just comes down to the simple fact that Battlefield 5 hasn't been as successful as a lot of people were hoping that it would be, and there's also a large price tag to get involved with this mode to begin with. If this was free to play, I honestly think that it would bring in a lot more players, and we probably wouldn't need to really have this discussion right now because of that free to play model. But because there is that entry fee, it really limits the potential, and I think that might be one of the reasons why this game kind of spirals down and this mode just kind of gets pushed over to the side. I also think it's going to hinge on how quickly the developers are able to improve the game in a meaningful way. Now, thankfully, it seems like the devs are taking this seriously, and they're already going to be making a loot fix within the next week. Looting right now is probably one of the biggest weaknesses. There's been so many moments where I just want a specific item in a giant loot pile and I can't reach it, and to get taken out because I'm staring at the ground while someone rounds the corner against me is incredibly frustrating. And so the fact that they're already making these changes is a great sign, but the next couple of weeks and months is really going to give us a good idea how much long-term support this game needs, and I think that's going to be really important for the future. And so overall, while I really enjoy the mode right now, I do have my concerns. I'm crossing my fingers that they're going to be able to sustain a healthy player base so that people are able to enjoy this for a long time, but it really remains to be seen. The next question comes from Toenail, and it is, do you think there should be a small advantage given to teams with one less player, like perhaps an AI teammate or just anything small to help when someone has left? So I understand where you're coming from. Being in a 4v5 situation, especially if it's like at the start of a ranked game, is pretty demoralizing. Having to play out an entire match where you're at such a large disadvantage isn't something that you can't overcome, but it's really difficult. And so if Ubisoft was able to give that team a little bit of an edge, that doesn't seem too unreasonable. But I definitely don't want there to be an AI component. People are playing this game because of the competitive nature. You're playing against other players, and if all of a sudden you add in AI, I think that would detract from the overall experience. That said, though, I don't think it's too unreasonable to give that team a little bit of an edge. One idea that I really like is that at the start of a round, Ubisoft could spawn in a little box, and in that box has 2 reinforcements, or let's say you have 2 people that left your team, it will have 4 reinforcements. So for however many people are gone, it will give you their reinforcements. So then someone can walk on up, pick those up, and then put them on a wall. That way you're not at such a large disadvantage, especially on some of these objectives. That could be one way they go about it. Other than that, though, I don't really know if there's anything else that Ubisoft should do. Some people have brought up that one side should have more armor, or they should do a little bit more damage, and no, I disagree with that entirely. I know that it's frustrating to be in a 4v5 situation, but at the end of the day, if you're the person that's on the other end, where now you're going against a super team or whatever, because they lost that player, that isn't going to be fun. And to lose on that other side because of that would also not be enjoyable. And so I definitely think that there are some small things that Ubisoft could do to try to improve the overall experience. They would need to be very careful about it. Yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you like the idea of giving the team that's down one player a little bit of an advantage? How would you go about that? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.